Hello, and welcome to the channel. This is the place where we take a look behind the curtain and explore the real life and history of William Shakespeare and what it was like to live in turn of the 17th century England. In April of 1584, Sir Walter Raleigh, with the blessing of Queen Elizabeth, was sent on a recon mission to the New World. This mission would result in the first English colony in the New World, Roanoke Colony, which you may also know as the Lost Colony. Why was Sir Walter Raleigh sent on this mission? And what was going on that motivated Elizabeth to want to have a colony in the New World in the first place? To find out the answers to this question, you'll want to keep watching because that's what we're answering right now on That Shakespeare Life. In the 1580s, England was behind in the race for colonization, with Spain, their infamous rival and even outright enemy, getting a head start with the colonies in what is now called Florida. To try and keep up, Elizabeth sent one of her favorite soldiers and famous explorer, Sir Walter Raleigh, to scope out a place that England could claim as its own. While it would take Sir Walter Raleigh months to cross the Atlantic and find the place they wanted to settle, he did eventually find and settle what's known today as Roanoke Colony. How was this venture different from other colonies like Jamestown or Plymouth? And what motivated Elizabeth to want to have a colony in the first place? To find out, I sat down with Josh Nelson, park ranger at Fort Riley in North Carolina, to learn the history. Here's what he had to say. What was the incentive for Riley specifically to undertake this venture in the first place? You mentioned that he was indirectly sponsored by the monarchy. So I wonder, does that mean he was commanded to go on this voyage by the queen? Was he acting on her orders? Or what does he need to seek out investors for this journey instead of being completely funded by the crown? What's the motivating situation there that sends him across the ocean?
Yeah, definitely. Back at the time, England is considered the leader of the Protestant countries in Europe, and Spain is the leader of the Catholic countries in Europe. And so, being that in that dynamic, there's no real friendship between those two countries, you could say. And actually, in the early parts of the Roanoke voyages, 1584, 1585, we're just a couple of years away from outright war breaking out between King Philip of Spain and Queen Elizabeth of England. So that's the backdrop. Spain has conquered a lot of land in Central and South America, and they've extracted a lot of resources from that. And so that they're really increasing their power and their wealth. And England wants to try to accomplish that themselves. They want to try to disrupt the supply of resources that Spain is sending back to Europe. And Roanoke Island is situated very, very close to the Gulf Stream, this major ocean current, which exists today and existed back then, right? And so the Spanish are using that to take their treasure fleets from Central America back to Europe. And the English hope to be able to privateer or to attack that shipping route and be able to take some of those resources and hurt their enemy at the time. So that's why Queen Elizabeth is interested in this happening. She doesn't directly sponsor it, although she does send one of her own private ships along in the voyage, because she wants this to be successful. This will really disrupt her rival's power and supply of resources. So she ends up granting a charter to Sir Walter Raleigh, which gives him the monopoly on any English settlements in North America and the exports from them. And it's probably because of the close relationship between Sir Walter Raleigh and Queen Elizabeth that's granted.
Despite Elizabeth trying to hedge her bets on the expedition for his efforts in this recon mission and setting up Roanoke Colony, Elizabeth I knighted Sir Walter Raleigh in 1585. To hear the rest of the story of Roanoke and Fort Riley, including the interactions of the settlers with the Algonquin natives and what events led up to the ultimate failure of Roanoke Colony, you can listen to our entire interview with Josh Nelson on the podcast at CassidyCash.com/episode 271. That's CassidyCash.com/EP271. While you're there, if you want to see some visual history that coordinates with our topic today, including artifacts from Roanoke Colony, some artifacts there at Fort Riley, where Josh was calling us from, as well as some 16th century maps of Virginia and illustrations of the lost colony that survived to today, be sure to click the Become a Patron button on the show notes page. There, you can either join as a patron or log in if you're already a supporter of our show, and all of these extras will expand right there on the page. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Cassidy Cash, and I hope you learned something new about the Bard. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.